The consequences of a tsunami striking a coastline can vary from imperceptible to catastrophic. The impact of a tsunami hinges on several factors: the nature of the seismic event that triggered it, the distance from its epicenter, its magnitude, and the bathymetry or oceanic depth along the affected coast. Minor tsunamis, generated by everyday seismic activity, occur frequently but often go unnoticed due to their distance from land or their small scale. When these smaller tsunamis do reach the shore, they may resemble a powerful, swift-moving tide. Tsunamis possess long periods and the ability to traverse obstacles such as gulfs, bays, and islands. Upon making landfall, they typically manifest as rapidly fluctuating water levels, akin to tidal bores, or as a series of large waves. Rather than colossal breaking waves, tsunamis typically arrive as a forceful surge, inducing violent flooding. However, when tsunami waves escalate to towering heights, they can wreak havoc on coastlines, inflicting severe property damage and loss of life. Even a seemingly insignificant wave in the open ocean, as small as 30 centimeters, can transform into a colossal 30-meter behemoth upon reaching land. Particularly vulnerable are coastal features such as bays, harbors, and lagoons, which can amplify the waves as they advance inland. Some tsunamis have surged to heights exceeding 100 feet. The sheer energy and volume of water unleashed by a massive tsunami can result in unparalleled devastation upon striking land. While the initial wave of a large tsunami may be towering, the majority of destruction occurs not from this first wave, but from the immense mass of water following behind it. As the sea level rapidly rises, flooding coastal areas with tremendous force, it is this relentless deluge that wreaks havoc and claims lives. The destructive force of a tsunami stems from two primary mechanisms: the battering impact of a swiftly moving wall of water, and the overwhelming power of a massive volume of water sweeping across the land, regardless of the wave's apparent size. Structures and objects succumb to the weight and momentum of the water, often reduced to skeletal remains or exposed bedrock. Large debris, including ships and boulders, can be carried miles inland by the force of the tsunami. Buildings, boats, bridges, vehicles, trees, and power lines are swept away by the tsunami's onslaught. Islands hit by tsunamis are left unrecognizable in their wake. In regions prone to high seismic activity, such as the Ring of Fire, tsunamis can have catastrophic consequences, particularly in less developed countries where infrastructure is often insufficient to withstand their impact. Entire communities and towns may be obliterated, leaving behind scenes of devastation and despair. Tsunamis often result in a humanitarian crisis, with immediate needs for search and rescue operations, medical assistance, shelter, food, and clean water. Displaced populations may face challenges accessing essential services and resources, leading to increased vulnerability. The most immediate and tragic consequence of a tsunami is the loss of life and injuries sustained during the event. Rapidly rising waters and powerful currents can lead to drowning, trauma, and other injuries, resulting in significant casualties, as escaping its wrath is nearly impossible. Tsunamis have claimed hundreds of thousands of lives since 1850 alone. Due to the swift onset of a tsunami, there is often minimal warning before it strikes land, leaving little time for evacuation. Coastal residents have scant opportunity to flee, resulting in instant fatalities primarily by drowning. Collapsing buildings, electrocution, and explosions caused by ruptured gas lines and floating debris further contribute to the death toll. The 2004 tsunami that ravaged Southeast Asia and East Africa claimed over 31,000 lives in Sri Lanka alone, with an additional 23,000 injured. Tsunamis can cause extensive damage to infrastructure, including roads, bridges, buildings, and utilities such as sewage systems, water suppliers, and power systems. This disruption to critical infrastructure can impede emergency response efforts and hinder the delivery of essential services. The economic impact of a tsunami can be severe, with losses stemming from damage to property, businesses, agriculture, and tourism. Disruptions to local economies can have long-term consequences, including loss of income, employment, and economic stability. Governments, international organizations, and humanitarian agencies mobilize to provide assistance, with contributions ranging from financial aid to logistical support. Reconstruction and cleanup efforts represent a monumental financial challenge, requiring the replacement of infrastructure, demolition of unsafe structures, and removal of debris. Estimating the precise financial cost of a tsunami is challenging, yet it often constitutes a substantial portion of a nation's GDP. Tsunamis not only devastate human life, but also have profound effects on ecosystems, wildlife, and natural resources. They alter landscapes, uprooting trees and plants while destroying animal habitats and nesting sites. Tsunamis can inflict significant environmental damage, including habitat destruction, pollution, and contamination of natural resources like water and soil. Ecosystems may be disrupted, and wildlife populations may suffer adverse effects, further exacerbating the ecological impact of the disaster. Tsunamis also alter landscapes, uprooting trees and plants while destroying animal habitats. In the aftermath of a tsunami, there are heightened health risks due to factors such as contaminated water, lack of sanitation, overcrowded living conditions, and the potential spread of waterborne diseases like cholera, hepatitis A and E. Access to medical care and public health interventions is crucial to mitigating these risks. Under such conditions, maintaining health and administering medical care becomes challenging, leading to the rapid proliferation of infections and diseases, further contributing to the death toll. Survivors of tsunamis may experience psychological trauma, including symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, anxiety, depression, and grief. The loss of loved ones, homes, and communities can have profound and long-lasting effects on mental health and well-being. Tsunami survivors often grapple with profound psychological trauma, with consequences that may endure for years or even a lifetime. Studies following events such as the 2004 tsunami in Sri Lanka have revealed high rates of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, among survivors, particularly among children and adolescents. The process of rebuilding and recovery following a tsunami is complex and often prolonged. It involves efforts to restore infrastructure, housing, livelihoods, and community resilience. Reconstruction efforts may require coordination among government agencies, humanitarian organizations, and affected communities, along with financial resources and technical expertise. In the aftermath of a devastating tsunami, where lives, homes, and communities are torn apart, the psychological and emotional toll on survivors can be immense. Many individuals may grapple with profound grief, trauma, and loss, particularly if they have lost loved ones, including children, in the disaster. This can lead to a range of responses, including a temporary or even prolonged disruption to the normal processes of life, including family planning and childbirth. Overall, the aftermath of a tsunami involves a comprehensive response to address the immediate needs of affected populations, mitigate ongoing risks and challenges, and support long-term recovery and resilience-building efforts. Collaboration, coordination, and investment in preparedness and disaster risk reduction are essential components of effective tsunami response and recovery. This is the testament to human resilience, the ability to adapt and overcome.